Hey, good Wednesday morning, everybody. BAM weather meteorologist Brett Waltz here, giving you a long-range forecast update, guys. I hope y'all are doing well this morning. Wanted to start out this video with the increasing potential for the first tropical cyclone threat of the season for the United States. Not looking like a substantial threat, not looking like it's going to be a strong system, but we have increased the probability of some kind of development for tropical activity in Florida or just off the southeast coast as we work into this weekend, guys. So some kind of tropical depression, some kind of a tropical storm, not 100% out of the question. We're kind of in that 40 to 60% formation chance territory right now as we work into the latter part of this weekend, into the weekend. So certainly something that we will be keeping in mind. I do think that some heavy rainfall regardless across central and southern parts of Florida will be possible. Whether this officially gets to tropical cyclone criteria, again, still remains to be seen, but something that we are monitoring very carefully for the southeastern portion of the country as we work into your holiday weekend, especially with all the outdoor activities and plans that will be going on this weekend. Definitely will be keeping a close eye on this system. Now, before we get into the extended range outlook today, I want to kind of go back to June and take a look at some key observations from an agricultural perspective here, guys. Here's a look at the average low temperature ranks by all the different climate districts across the country. And I think that, as we talked about yesterday, low temperatures will become increasingly important as we work through this critical part of the growing season over the next couple of weeks. You take a look at parts of the Ohio Valley, a top 5 to 10 warmest on record in terms of overnight lows for the month of June. And looking at the forecast ahead, I think that this will continue to be a theme. We've had a lot of rain across much of the area. We don't have widespread drought conditions for the ag belt in general. And with more moisture on the way and the potential for more periods of heat ahead, I think that the very warm overnight low temperatures will continue to be a factor as we go through, again, this critical part of the growing season. To kind of highlight this, I want to start out with just the temperature anomalies over the next 5 days. And certainly data has rolled forward warmer in this period as well. It's something that we've been talking about. If you go back to last week, we favored a warmer solution compared to some of the ensemble model data. That's verifying in the short term, and I think that it's a risk that data continues to roll forward a little warmer out into the future. We'll touch more on that here in a moment, but here's a look at just the average temperature anomaly. Here's a look at the high temperature anomaly, and here's a look at the low temperature anomaly. What you'll notice, the low temperature anomalies are more notable than the high temperature anomalies. Our overnight lows are warmer compared to normal than the highs are, and in fact, some cases we're 5 to 10 degrees warmer than normal across the northern plains, Midwest, and into the Great Lakes. And so, again, the overnight lows being more anomalous, I think, will continue to be a theme as we go throughout this month. Real quick, I did want to show you just the GDU forecast anomaly over the next 10 days. We started the season slower with cooler air in May and to start out June, but we've made up a lot of ground as of late. Here's a look at the next 10 days, guys. You can see that much of the Ohio Valley, the Great Lakes, the Midwest here will be above normal in terms of our growing degree unit. So growing season obviously well underway and should continue to add up those GDUs over the next couple of weeks. Hey guys, sorry to cut in here in the middle of the video, but real quick, if you want to access tools like what we just highlighted, that GDU tool on our Clarity platform, the link here in the comments of the YouTube video, you can click on and you can actually test out our Clarity platform 7 days for free for either our business or our ag subscription. If you're in the agriculture industry, would highly recommend clicking that free trial button and trying a 7-day run of our Clarity Ag package to get things like spray forecasts, all of that GDU data, and then all of these long-range outlooks updated daily on the platform, along with a variety of other key tools for the ag industry. And of course, if you're a business, especially with that tropical activity ahead, try out that business trial, be able to chat with our team of meteorologists anytime. Back to the video now. In terms of additional moisture potential here, this is the European model. As we go over the next 7 days or so, I want to highlight the forecast. We'll be picking up activity in the plains to close this week and into the weekend, and that will continue to kind of be the spot that sees the most widespread precipitation threats as we head through the middle part of next week. This is through next Tuesday. What you can see here, more widespread, heavier rainfall potential across the central part of the country. Would not be shocked if it's a little bit broad brushed in spots, but generally speaking, the central part of the U.S. will be more active. The further east you go, the less widespread the rains will be, the messier the rains will be, at least until late next week, when I do think more rain opportunities will start to spread further into the Ohio Valley. Taking a look at that and just the upper level pattern that will be driving that type of a signal, what we start to see develop as we work into the latter part of next week is an upper level low, kind of situated here across parts of the Midwest in the Ohio Valley. Now, this is 9-10 days out. What I would keep an eye on, and what we've seen in the short term, is this Bermuda high and this eastern U.S. ridge trending a little bit stronger. Right now, what I would keep in mind is that because of the tendency to be a little bit too weak with this, European data, or the EPS data trying to put the heaviest rains down here, further down to the south, would not be shocked if it's a tick further to the north, given the tendency to be underdone with some of the warmth and some of that ridging on the East Coast. If you take a look here, here's a look at the week 2 time frame in terms of the upper level pattern. EPS has the tendency to hold these upper level lows back too far west and too far south at times, so I would be keeping an eye on this region in here. Circle an area. This region in here for heavier rainfall potential as we go into the week 2 time frame. And if we take a look, here's kind of our overall idea in terms of precipitation. I don't think there's a perfect solution right now. I think that there's going to be run-to-run volatility, run-to-run model swings, and so just trying to highlight a general idea here. I would not take totals verbatim at this distance, but the black circled area is where I think that more widespread, heavier rains are going to be possible. That does include key areas like Illinois, Indiana, parts of Iowa, Missouri. I think that if you're in this green circled area, you're certainly going to get rains, but don't be shocked if it's a little bit messier in nature. You can kind of see some of the splotchiness of this model here. Rather than everybody cashing in on 1-2 inches of rain, it's probably a little bit more hit or miss in nature, with drier risk across the Canadian prairies and parts of the northern plains in the week 2 time frame. Here's a look, and again, don't take the percent of normal 100% verbatim, but the general idea here over the next 2 weeks is we're wetter across the plains, central part of the country through here, and we're a little bit less widespread with the rains on the East Coast, drier in the West as well. And so something that I've noticed both in the sub-seasonal drivers and now in the short term with rains ahead, similarities to a year like 2010. You take a look at how July 2010 evolved, very, very similar to the precipitation forecast over the next 2 weeks. Why is that important? Well, 2010 was a big year and a memorable year in terms of the very, very warm overnight lows. And with more heat expected down the line, and with the moisture coming up, and the similarities to a year like 2010, I definitely continue to be concerned about the very warm overnight low risk ahead, which obviously from a crop standpoint, from an agricultural standpoint, can pose problems in terms of disease, among other things, as we go throughout the month of July. And so continuing to keep an eye on this. If we take a look at when more of the above normal temperatures could return, take a look at the EPS by the end of week 2. It's trying to build in this ridge of high pressure and this warmth again in this region here. The GEFS is even more aggressive. In fact, it's pretty notable with the hotter signal redeveloping by the 17th or so of the month. And so we have signs here of the heat returning in maybe a more notable fashion. It's warmer than normal on average the next 2 weeks, but I am still concerned that there could be a more notable wave of heat here shortly after the halfway point of the month. If you take a look at the GEFS, it's very much on board with this idea. We have model support for the idea. This is between the 17th, 18th, and the 25th of the month. It has the core of it right over the ag belt. Wouldn't be shocked if it's a touch too far west, but it does look very similar here to our low global wind analogs 20 days after the lowest value as we head late June and into July. And so there's support, guys. There is support for the hotter idea. I still think that a more notable heat wave is on the table shortly after the halfway point of the month. I really don't have any change in that idea. And here was our 3-4 outlook yesterday. Wouldn't change this right now. There's support with this. We have the model support. And again, I think that when all is said and done, what would be more memorable about this particular period would be less with the daytime highs. Certainly the feels like temperatures will be very high with the humidity, but it could be with record-breaking nighttime lows. And so that will be the story that we'll continue to hone in on over the next couple of weeks. Guys, that's all I have for today's forecast. We'll have another update tomorrow. Hope you all have a great rest of your day.